Hello and welcome to our training today on no listings, no problem. For those of you who attended this live yesterday, it's going to look a little different. I decided to go ahead and re-record it. I wasn't happy with the way the recording came out on my end. It had an overlay on the screen differently than my shared screen of text messages. Those of you who are on the training and watched it yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. So if you watched it yesterday, thank you so much for showing up. If you were unable to attend, well, you're going to get a nice fresh recording of it today. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Cox. I am currently the ALC chair for the tech committee at Keller Williams in the Wilmington office. So I decided to put together this training today to show you 4 different techniques that you could use right now today to generate buyer leads into your business, even if you don't have a listing to promote. So we're going to start off with the most basic form, and that is using someone else's listing. So that's going to be the first one. So that's the first goal for today. The second method that I'm going to show you is how you can use a standout feature on a property, whether it's, let's say, waterfront or houses with a pool, or you can showcase houses, a list of houses under $250,000 as an example, something along those lines. Hopefully that gets the wheels turning and saying, oh yeah, I can create an ad like that. I'm going to show you how to create some fresh designs that go along with that. And then the third list I'm going to show you how to create is for the third ad I'm going to show you how to create is an open house list. So you can promote a list of upcoming open houses, get them onto your registered onto your website, and then I'm going to show you some advanced techniques that you can use to tag them and then also to win the follow-up game with them with some smart plans. And then the final one is one that we've used for a while. It creates a nice pattern interrupt in a social media feed, and that is showcasing some price reduced properties, which is a feature that your KW agent website has as one of the selectable functionalities. So I have broken them up into 4 different videos. So this is the first video. After this, go ahead and find that second video. Wanted to break it up. That way people have a nice definition. If they want to go back and use one of the 4 techniques specifically, they can go back into that. So without any further ado, I'm going to hop into sharing my screen here and we'll get into the first one. So you are now seeing my screen on the home screen of Command. First place we're going to go is on the left-hand side under the campaigns. That's where we're going to be spending a good chunk of our time today. If you don't know any of the icons, look what the symbols are, you can go ahead and click on the KW button, and that expands their names onto there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on campaigns. Get an itchy nose while this is going on today. That's always fun. Once you get into the commands homepage or the campaigns dashboard, you're going to go up to the top right and create a new campaign. From there, we're going to do create social ad paid. I'm just going to call this 123 sample. And for this one, our goal is going to be advertise a listing. These don't do too much differently. The reason why I'm going to choose advertise a listing for this one is I am going to promote a specific listing. So I want to pull that information in. The last thing you need to choose on that is going to be where your campaign will run. So you have the option of Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. I always would recommend, specifically right now, as you're watching this on late December 2020, is Facebook only. The cost per lead is just significantly cheaper on the Facebook algorithm as opposed to, even though Facebook owns Instagram, not seeing anywhere near as a return on investment for running them on Instagram or splitting them. So just check off Facebook and then set up campaign. Now from there, because we chose add a listing or promote a listing, it's going to pull up the listing operations automatically. So in this scenario, you don't have any listings. You're going to call out to one of your colleagues in the office who has a new listing, hopefully, ideally with something special. I wouldn't just say just because it's a new property to promote that one. Really look for something with a stunning backyard or some kind of feature that's going to make that stand out. Great updated kitchen, something that you can use to pull that in. To get some eyes on that, because you're definitely going to want something that stands out, that's going to get a higher click-through rate. So you're going to call them and say, hey, would you mind if I promote one of your listings on command? If you get an agent that says, no way, that's my listing, first off, they're crazy and you probably don't want to be promoting their property anyway, and they should probably get out of the business, in my opinion. But anyway, won't go too far down that way. So let's say in this scenario, we called up one of our good friends here in the office, Hank, and said, hey, Hank, you got a new listing over at 468 Tate Lake Drive. I would love to promote that. Are you okay with that? Absolutely, Chris, go ahead. You look up that property in here. Now, you're going to want to change this. Since it's not your listing, you're going to want to change this to all listings. And then you'll see that there, 468 Tate Lake Drive. Go ahead and hit select. What that's going to do is that's going to pull in all the property photos of that property. Now, of course, this one I chose is a new listing, so there is just the new construction home. So there's only the one exterior rendering of this property. But that's okay. We're not going to use any of those photos anyway. We're going to use something in design. So as you'll see, when I pulled in that property address from the MLS, it also automatically populated above the photo. The main copy is the first 250 characters of the MLS remark section. Under headline, that's the next thing you're going to want to do. I'm a big proponent of giving them as much here as you can. Give them the town, give them what type of home it is, and I'm okay with giving that information. So I'm up to and including even the price on that is going to be okay. To promote that. So I'm okay with putting the price in there. So I would go and a headline, something similar to that. And then the final part is the description. So this is going to show up under here where it says enter text that clearly tells people about the call to action link. They've created some really good stock stuff for us. So you can shuffle through the stock quotes that they've come up for, stock descriptions that they've come up. So you could be coming home to this, hit shuffle, schedule a private tour with me today, hit shuffle again, view photos and videos of this home. Once you find the one you like, or you can of course create your own, I'm going to go ahead and use schedule a private tour with me today, use suggestion. Go ahead and hit save, add text. So our goal before we launch this campaign is going to be get all of these boxes, make sure they're green circled in. And then you're going to go ahead and make some changes to the images. So from there, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to change the ad media. So as I said, it does pull in any of the default images for that. It's going to default to the primary photo, photo number 1, but you can choose to override that with any of the other listing photos. Or what I like to do is to pull in an actual design that I have created. So side note, a couple side notes here for you. The first one is that recently, as I'm recording this in late December 2020, Facebook has changed their rules around the amount of text that can be in ads. So there used to be that you could have no more than 20% of your photo could have text in it. Well, they have changed and eliminated that kind of archaic rule or guideline that they had, and they've waived that. So that is no longer necessary. So you can get some text in there and include a nice call to action or embed some information in the actual photo. So to do that, or to change the photo to one of the other photos, maybe you want to highlight the kitchen or a bathroom or something, you're going to hit these 3 dots or the ellipsis over here and hit change image. And you do have all the other photos on there. But we're going to go ahead and hit add image. And you can create something in Designs and then pull that in. So I've created a bunch of stock ones that I pull in based on different properties. I'm going to pull one in here and show you what that looks like. So to do that, you hit add images, browse design library. And I'm going to pull in one of the ones that I've created for an older one. This is 110 Sharon just listed. Go ahead and hit check mark on that. It's going to pull that image in for me. And then you'll see it pulls that. Once you highlight that, you're going to hit preview and crop image. Now, an important step in this process here is it's going to default to this wide 1.91 by 1. It actually recommends that best for most placements is going to be this square. So that's going to make sure the 1:1 ratio is going to make it show up better for you on mobile devices. It's going to show up better, and it shows up pretty good in the on the desktop feed as well. So as you'll see here, I've created just listed. This was created 100% in Designs. So I've got the logo on there, just listed. I've also included a bunch of information about the property. In this case, this was a first showing kind of thing. So we highlighted the first showing. So this literally has everything: bedrooms, baths, square footage, when the house was built, and everything and the price except for the actual property address. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save image on that. And you'll see that that changed the feed there. Don't worry about it looking like it's showing up small in here. That is because the preview automatically defaults to the web feed. If you click on mobile, you're going to see it's much more in line with the sizing on a mobile device. So it's going to be great for click-through rate. And again, you're giving them some additional information there. You're going to go ahead and hit save add media once you have that done. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to create the Facebook ad, tell the ad where it is going to and how you're going to capture their information. So first things first, you do need to have this connected to a business page. So you do need to have a Facebook business page to get to any of these posts to be being put out there. So if you have, you're going to be able to choose all of the pages that you run. You can choose from any of them. Now, the next thing is this destination. This is a really, really important step in the process. I wanted to highlight this section here. And we're going to cover this even more in some of the other parts of this. But you want to make sure that this lead generation form is highlighted for you rather than use site or landing page, unless you are driving traffic to a third-party site that has another forced registration. So this Facebook lead generation form for most users is going to be what you're going to want to make sure your radio button is on that. Once you choose that lead generation form, you then have the option for a call to action. You can do learn more, sign up, or apply now. I like to leave it as learn more because they're learning more about that property. Then the final thing is you're going to need to tell it where you are going to. So you have a couple different options for that. You can either drive it to your KW agent site, in which case you would want to go up to your KW agent site. Once you find that property, it's not going to cooperate and find that property for me today, but you would click on that link to the actual property, and you would want to copy this address that comes up here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, go back into command, and that is the follow-up destination URL that you are going to put in there. You're going to paste that in there, and that's going to lead them to your KW agent site. The other option, and the one that I would recommend, especially for one of your own listings, would be for Choose Landing Page. But that's covered in a different training. But for today, we're going to say we've sent them to a KW agent site. So it's on your website. Once that's what's going to want to get them to that specific property. So as soon as they click on that link, it's going to bring them to that property on your website, and then hopefully get them driving around from there too. So we've got the pages, we've got the destination set up. The final component of this section is going to be the ad targeting. So I would always recommend use custom settings. Not going to target my database. I'm going to use target a custom audience. So Facebook allows you to get a little specific on the geographic location. You can't go super wide, but you can go down to 15 miles all the way up to 50. So in this case, it's automatically going to default to the area that it pulled the listing from. So this one was in Southport. So that's where it pulled. It's going to automatically default to. You then have the option to change the radius. So it's going to default to 20. You can move it anywhere from 15 all the way up to 50. It won't let you go past 50. Once you've done that, I like to keep it as narrow as possible, but that's going to depend on what kind of geographics you have. And then the final thing is this expert targeting. So you can redefine your audience with target interests. So the ones that I always pull in, at least most of the time, maybe not always, is going to be Zillow. So that's going to be people who have liked the Zillow page. Like it or not, people follow that page. Same thing with Realtor.com. And then you can start getting specific on other interests that may pop into your mind. If you want to see a list of them, you can click on this interest button, and that's going to show you all the different things that people can be interested in. So another one that I like to add, again, depending on the price point, if you've got a luxury property, you're probably not going to pull in first-time buyers, but a $260,000 price point, maybe that's a good home for a first-time buyer. Go ahead and check that off, and then hit Save Selection. So it's going to show you all of your interests that you saved down there for that. I wouldn't go any more than 4 or 5 deep on this. If you start getting too many interests, you're not going to be able to tell what audiences that you've created are working and which ones are not going to work. So go ahead and once you've done that, you're going to hit Save Facebook Ad. And then the final step is going to be duration and budget. They recommend 10 days with a budget of $1 per day per channel. I like to overrule that a little bit just on my experiences. My experience is during that first 4 to 5 days is when you get the best cost per lead on an ad. And then it slows down between days 6, 7, 8, and then kicks back in days 9 and 10. The cost per lead goes back down, but it doesn't make up for the time in between there, in my opinion. So I like to run it for 5 days. That's just my personal preference. You can change that based on what your experience is. And then I like to run it for $15 for 5 days, $20 for 5 days, whatever you're comfortable with there. And then the final step there is save duration and budget. And then the final step that you would do is publish a campaign. I'm going to save this as a draft as I don't want to run it. And you'll see once you get back to your home screen, to your campaign dashboard, it'll show up. This would say pending review, and then it would show active. So those are the steps that I would run through. So that's the same exact format you would run if you were running to promote one of your own listings. But that is for running someone else's listing. So thank you for watching part 1. Part 2, again, we are going to go over how you can use a standout feature to put a group of properties together to make a list out there and get people coming to your site and get some intel on them and how you can follow up with them. So thanks for watching part 1. Hope to see you back for part 2.